Wow, 2020, what a year. And we're all just over a week into 2021, and it's not shaping up to be a whole lot different, is it? So, you guys have been following me. You'll know that last year, last year was a long year. Started prepping February, sometime in January, well, right around this time, for what was supposed to be the New York Pro in May. And right around March, the Arnold got canceled, and the reality of this, COVID-19 pandemic started to set in, and shows were all being canceled, postponed, et cetera, et cetera. And the New York Pro ended up being postponed all the way. It kept along the way being pushed, being pushed, being pushed. It ended up going on in September. I stayed dieting all year. I don't even know how many weeks that was. A lot of weeks. Most of the weeks. All of the weeks. And by the time it came around, the show ended up taking place in Florida because New York wouldn't allow the show to take place in any of the venues. I'm guessing maybe because of social distancing, or the venues just altogether would not host the event. So it ended up moving to Florida. So it was nice that the event was able to continue. Personally, New York has a lot of sentimental value to me. It's where I did my first amateur show. It's where I did my first pro show. And for me, a lot of it, what I was training for, being my comeback show, what was supposed to be my comeback show, I wanted family there. I wanted friends there. I wanted people from the gym there. That meant a lot to me. So once the reality of it being in Florida set in, I just kind of said, you know what, let's just let's just scrap it. let's try again next year. So here we are next year, and like I said, things aren't looking to be a whole lot better. So to kind of give you an idea of what I've been doing the last several months, from late August, early September, I took a little bit of a break. Gave my system a pretty lengthy rest, about 16 weeks, during which I was still training, etc., but easing off the dieting and some of those extracurricular activities, let's call them. And now I'm just small and fat. I'm about 265, which is on the smaller side for me. Training is pretty good though, and all things considered, I'm at probably a better place at this point than I was last year. Maybe minus a little bit of size though, but training is good. I'm training fairly pain-free. My knee has been a long time bother after the injury. My knee's feeling the best it's felt. My hip isn't feeling great. Anybody watching this, don't get old. But nothing that's going to stop me, that's for certain. So I'm looking at 2021 probably a little bit differently than I looked at 2020. 2020 was just going to be a regular year, right? The show's going to be May 16th. I have every reason to expect the show's going to be May 16th. As for the New York Pro, which again is going to be the show I probably want to do, I don't even know. I mean, are they holding it? Is it going to be in New York? I haven't heard anything. What's the date? I don't know. Even if I did know the date, the reality is probably, that's highly subject to change. So how will I go at this year differently? Well, kind of knowing that everything is probably going to be subject to change, subject to being rescheduled and or altogether canceled. It's hard to pick a show and kind of go at it seriously, which is, never been an issue before. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go at my eating, go at my training. Like I said, right now I'm a little bit on the smaller side, so I would like to gain some mass in a high quality way. Probably go at it as if I'm going to start a prep, right? So when I start a prep, as the prep goes on, I start eating more food. And I usually end up growing and getting harder and the whole bit. I'm probably going to do that So, cardio being high, training being intense and, 100% consistent, diet day to day being totally consistent, everything being spot on, but the food quantity being higher. And I think doing that, I can probably grow and do it in a real high quality way, and then just kind of parlay that into the beginning of a prep. We still are in the beginning of January, so it's a little bit early, but I need size. I'm not going to, like, if I hear, okay, the New York Pro is going to be May 16th, let's just throw that number out there. I kind of don't care. I'm going to probably just train, go at it until I look the way I want to look. And then if there's if that happens to align with New York, cool. If it doesn't, cool. If New York gets postponed and then it realigns, great. There will be something in 2021, I'm sure. Boston is another one that's fairly local. That went on last year. So I'm going to just do my thing and not let the dates kind of dictate, because that just didn't work out last year. In 2021, I've got some things I'd like to improve on, which is the case, of course, every year, right? Does any bodybuilder ever set out and say, no, I think I'm good. I don't think there's anything I really need to improve on. I'm pretty straight. So yeah, no, of course I got things I want to improve on. The old, want to be bigger, want to be harder, want a smaller waist. But a lot of it for me is more size in the lower body. I'm pretty happy, upper body at the moment. Just greater mass overall. Proportionally speaking, I'm fairly satisfied. Yeah, of course, I'd like my chest to be bigger. Of course, I'd like my back to be thicker. Of course, I'd like my shoulders to be wider. But, the idea being we're just going to train my ass off and, just make every training session as good as it can be. Don't screw up on the diet. And, things are going to be pretty much what they're going to be. Luckily, my knee is feeling the best it's felt since the injury, since the surgery. So I'm very excited about that. I'm in a good place mentally. What else would I like to improve on? Just to get back on the stage and look good would be good. Body parts aside, mindset, 2011, 12, 13 were all really, really great years for me. I was just super aggressive in the gym. Mentally, training was probably 90% of what I thought about. I had my first daughter in 2011. So, anybody watching this knows, anybody who has kids, I should say, watching this knows, once you have kids, things change a little bit. It's unfortunately things are no longer entirely about you. It would be nice to have that same kind of singular focus that I had back then. But at the same time, I don't know how possible that is. To do that and to still be a good dad, really. Recently, I've probably been spending more time with my kids than ever, and I feel closer to them than ever, and it's really, it's pretty awesome. I wouldn't trade that for anything. So I guess the key thing is, and I've always been focused in the gym. I've never been a lazy guy in the gym, but knowing that, bodybuilding isn't going to be on my brain, 24/7. I'm not going to eat, breathe, and sleep it. It's all the more important that every time I step into the gym, it's got to be all on, right? For that hour and a half, I really do need to set aside everything else. I really do need to push everything else out of my brain and really just go at it with the weights, because it's really the only way to make up for, the fact that as we all grow older, hopefully, we all mature, other things start to, move move into the forefront in our minds. having the biggest biceps is no longer the most important thing in life. But, right, I'm a competitor. So I train to kick ass. So when it comes time to train, when it comes time to do what I've got to do, that's got to be 100% on my mind. And I'd be lying if I said that, there's times I go in the gym, I've got other stuff on my brain, and I know a lot of you guys watching this, you feel me. You don't have to be a pro, to know what that's like. You guys, you've got jobs, you got families, you got stuff going on. And, sometimes it's hard to put that out of your mind. I would like to, in 2021, every time I step foot in the gym, every time I train, pretend like nothing else exists, just for that hour and a half. If I could do that, I bet you the outcome's pretty good. In 2021, do I plan on working with anyone? Anybody who's been following me for a while knows it's been quite a long time since I've worked with anybody. Over the years, people that I've enlisted, their coaching services, Dave Palumbo, Oscar Ardon, Chris Aceto, went back to Oscar again, and honestly had great experiences with all of them. It's been a little while since I've worked with a coach, and I probably feel inclined to keep it that way. Although, a very close friend of mine, Chris Tuttle, who's, also an IFBB pro, coaches a lot of people, great dude, super knowledgeable, great at what he does. He's someone who's known me for a long time, seen me in person throughout all my preps. If I was going to enlist anyone's help, it would probably be his. We'd maybe train together a little bit. But nobody in particular on my mind, but if I was going to work with someone, it would definitely be Chris. For 2021, I've got some goals outside of bodybuilding. As I mentioned earlier, I've been spending a lot of time with my girls. That's something that I'd like to see continue and, spend even more time with them. My younger daughter, who's 3 years old, I guess I always felt a little bit closer with my older daughter, maybe because she came first or whatever it was. But, the little one, it could have something to do with the fact that, she's little. When kids are little, it's hard to, maybe connect with them a lot. But this year I really connected with her a lot. And, I think about that all the time. And that's exciting to me. So, family and, that, my kids, being out, that's, at the top of my list for 2021. Because, really when I think about things, I was lucky growing up. I had a great family. My father was a huge influence in my life. My parents were divorced. They got divorced when I was 3 years old. But, I saw my father 3 times a week, and we did a lot together. I learned so much from him. He spent a lot of time, doing things with me, teaching me things, had a lot of patience with me. And, the older I get, the more I realize what a great father he was, and of course still is. And, I would like to hopefully equal that. Because I was lucky enough to have that, and, that's something I'd like to give to my kids. So there's that. Outside of family, outside of bodybuilding, I've got a couple, kind of hobbyistic things. You guys follow me, I've always got something I'm screwing around with. And if you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen that I've been doing some sewing and been putting together some duffel bags. And I just ordered a whole bunch of different fabric, some really cool stuff. And I'm going to be putting together a whole bunch of, like duffel bag samples that I'd like to approach a manufacturer with. There's actually a company not far from me who there's a large cut and sew operation. And I'd like to approach them with the bags and see about them possibly making them. Because I think they're awesome. And I think something high quality and classic like them doesn't really exist in the market. And the response that I've gotten when I post them has been really cool. So, yeah, some sewing stuff. Other goals, I don't know, man. I'm always looking for ways to be more knowledgeable, be more rounded. I've always got my hands in different things. Of course, you got to make money. So it's nice when your goals, or your hobbies, can kind of coincide with making money. I was really lucky to be able to make a career out of bodybuilding, and to have that passion coincide with a career. So, hey, it'd be cool to maybe do that again, and maybe start something else even while I'm still bodybuilding. So there's that. Always exploring. Coming off of 2020 and seeing all the shows that were postponed and canceled, I work with a lot of people, and a lot of people I was training, the shows they were getting ready for were pushed forward and pushed forward and pushed forward. Some people finally were able to get on stage, and then some people just, we ran out of shows and ran out of dates, and then some people just, physically and or mentally burnt out altogether. If I was going to give any advice to people planning on competing this year, I would say, it's tough. I don't want to say pace yourself, because you pace yourself and you don't get shit done. Bodybuilding isn't about making it last. It's not a marathon in the sense that, bodybuilding is more like sprinting than it is marathon running, right? You go out there, you go hard, and that's what elicits the change, not taking it easy. So I don't want to tell anyone, hey, take it easy, because you got to go out there and you got to hump it for sure. But just go at it in a sane way. Pick a show, but realize that show could be canceled. So maybe have a few backups, like 2 or 3 or maybe 4 backups, and maybe have a strategy in place where you say, okay, I'm going to shoot for this one, but if it doesn't happen, I've got a plan where, because look, you can't go balls to the wall for 30 weeks or 35 weeks. There's no way you're not going to do it. So, if you've got to go all in for 8, and then you come to the realization of, damn, the show's canceled. Okay, the next show I've got my sight on is 4 to 6 weeks away. No problem. You can keep going balls to the wall for those 4 to 6 to 8 weeks. But then if things keep getting postponed or canceled, then you've really got to reassess things. And I would say there probably has to, and this is something I didn't do last year, so I would say, learn from my mistake, whatever it is. If you find yourself in really, really good shape, you've been dieting 12, 14, 16 weeks, you're in great shape, and the next show is 8 weeks away, 10 weeks away, don't keep going like a maniac. You need to pull back. I didn't do that. I kept going really hard. I think I probably lost a little bit of size last year. You've got to be smart. I don't want to say don't be a hero, because I want to encourage you guys to go hard. You got to do that. But you got to know when to go all out, and you got to know when to pull back. And if you go all in, or all out, whatever, go all in, go all out. If you go all in, you got to know that maybe continuing to go at that rate is just going to be detrimental. So you could chalk it up to being hardcore and to being a badass, but if it's not going to help your end result, you're not doing yourself any favor, and you're not being hardcore, you're just being stupid. So do what you've got to do to get the best result, even if that means pulling back a little. So, man, without, not knowing what 2021 is going to bring, I say to you guys, good luck. Shoot me some luck too. Obviously, be safe, be smart, and man, let's hope this year's better than last one, huh? I'll see you guys.